Hello, my name is Mark Blackwood, and over the next few minutes I'm going to show you around the SBS Power BI cover analysis tool for SIMS users. So this is a Power BI report that uses several reports out of SIMS to hook into both your lesson monitor data and your cover data to give you some useful analyses. So it's menu driven, so you can make choices from the buttons on here, or you can simply go through the tabs along the bottom. That's what I'm going to do for the purpose of today's view. First page is really designed specifically for SLT. There's not a lot of things you can make changes to on here, but the idea is that over the previous 60 days you get an idea of the amount of cover that's been going on by subject. That's split down by total covers, lessons not covered, lessons where no cover was required, and if you've got any supply stuff on there, that will be an extra bar. You also see the breakdown in terms of the number of minutes, and also that is then calculated up into the number of school days, and that will be impacted upon. Also, over the course of the year, the number of supply bookings with a base cost of that. It works out what it is that approximately what you're spending on your supply, how many different staff have been in, and how many bookings you've made in total. And also over the course of the year, we can see what the average number of covers is and what the median number of covers is. We'll come to that a bit later on, but also the overall number of percentage of lessons that have been impacted upon by cover. The next page is really for the cover manager. That's to give you an idea about what's going on. It's a very similar page to the one before, but what this does also, it gives you date ranges, so you can actually make your own date range selection for the analysis that you want it to calculate. And you can see that it will recalculate that, and we can see it here that mass is becoming a bit of an issue. We've also got a bit of supply mass that's coming in there as well. Now if you want to see a bit more detail of that, you can right click on an individual bar, and you see that we've got two drill throughs. They essentially show the same data but just from a slightly different perspective. First one looks at covered staff, so if I click on that, that will drill through and that will look at the covered staff. You can see that all of these are actually maths classes. But you can see the individual classes, the lessons, the dates of the lessons when they were covered, how many students were actually in those classes, and also you can get a breakdown if for any reasons those classes weren't covered, and if you're using supply, how many minutes you're actually expending upon that. So go back to that page and show you the other drill through. These drill throughs are available from a number of different graphs. I'll just show you the drill through while we're here as well, though. And we'll show you that in terms of the covered classes, and this gives essentially the same data, but starting off with the focus of being the class details, and then you can see the lessons when they were who was actually covering, and a little bit more breakdown in terms of the teacher there, etc. Okay, also got a breakdown of the reasons for absence. Okay, moving on. This is specifically about supply cover. So this takes an export from SIMS of the bookings. You put a base value into the system as well to give you what the approximate cost is per day, so that can give you an overall set of calculations. And based on the lessons that those people have actually then been used for doing the cover, you can see that we've only actually used about £287 worth of our £8,000 plus of expenditure, which gives us a total utilisation of about 3.4%, which is not particularly good in my particular example. But you can see the lessons here about what was being covered and how many minutes were being covered, and again you've got the drill through options available for the individual subjects if you want to see that in a bit more detail. There's a specifics page for cover supervisors, again a similar layout, but this time we're talking about our cover supervisors, and also for each of your cover supervisors you would set a value about how much time you would expect them to be able to spend being able to do cover within your school. So again you can then get a calculation of what your percentage utilisation of that person. So if they're only actually there to do 60% of the time as a cover supervisor, then that will be a true representation of how much time they're actually spending doing covers for you. And also a comparison there of the associated spend. So if you're not getting the best out of your cover supervisors and you're spending money out on supply, then that will give you insight into perhaps some changes that you might want to make. The next page is our top N features. By that we mean you set a value of what you want N to be, so in this case our top 6 classes in terms of being covered for the date range that we selected. We've also got the staff which are most likely to be absent and the number of covers that they've required, the people actually doing the cover for you, and also if you've been using supply staff, how many covers they've actually delivered over that period of time. And again, you can vary the date range on there for any of those calculations. Affected Students takes your data and then compares it also to the lesson marks that you've had. So this is for our entire school. There's not an awful lot of lesson data in this particular data set, so it doesn't give us a great deal of insight to what's going on. You can see that some of these subjects have never even had a register taken in this particular case. But what we can then do on here is we can see that Mia Fell here in 11B has had 60 lessons that she would have been attending impacted upon. You can see her overall attendance. So one of the things you might be able to use this to do would be to see if children might have very good attendance, or if their attendance starts to tail off because actually the teacher isn't there, or that those lessons are being regularly covered, and what impact that might have. The child might have 100% attendance, but they might not be doing well in science or English or maths because of the number of covers that have been occurring on there. And also from here we've got another drill through option on here, which allows you to look at individual student detail and see in a bit more detail what's been going on at individual subject level. You can even see the marks that they have actually had at those individual lessons that were being covered. Just go back to that. Okay. Curriculum impact again looks by year group or any of the other filters available to you. Again, you can drill through from here as well to look at an individual student in more detail, and you can see what the impact of student lessons are. So by that, what we're saying is, based on the number of students in those classes, how many student lessons were affected by cover over that time frame. This page relates to the overall cover distribution for students. So again, what we've got here is we've got a breakdown by year group. Year 11 we are starting to get a little bit concerned about, and actually got a little bit more concerned about this. If you look on year 11 here, that actually the student with the lowest number of lessons impacted by cover is 9. The maximum is 62, which is a range of 53, and essentially what that's telling us is that we've got a 25 period cycle in our timetable, and so actually the difference between the lowest and the highest is around about 2 weeks worth of lessons that are impacted by cover, and also that's the biggest year across the school. Okay, and you can actually see that again on the individual graphs here. When we tease out year 11 from this overall bar chart, you can see the range is much wider than the other year groups, and also therefore the range at the top end is is having the biggest impact. And going back to who that was Mia Fell. So if I go back to affected students and I pick Mia Fell off my list, you can see here it says 60 rather than 62, but if I was to right click on there and then drill through to the individual student detail for Mia Fell, you'd be able to tell that not only were the 62 lessons impacted, but actually 2 of those weren't even covered, which is the difference between the 60 and the 62. Okay, so aside from a little page which looks at room covers, which is probably less useful to many people, but it does give you analysis of how many times you've had to put room covers in. That's kind of the end of the demonstration. If it's something that you would be interested in, if I could just draw your attention to this final page, which is our contact details. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like some information on pricing, which includes installation and updates for 12 months, please contact School Business Services. Telephone number is on there, or you can email hello@schoolbusinessservices.co.uk or visit our website. Thank you for watching. My name's been Mark Blackwood, and I appreciate your time.